Fighting a proposal to allow couples to get married, adopt children, form families, tens of thousands take to the streets of Paris. Their objection: homosexual households.
Why write up a law that institutionalizes something that isn't normal?
We're protesting so that kids can have a mother and a father.
The problem is that we can't change a model of society, a symbol of marriage that's so strong.
The reality is that, like this one, there are already homoparental families in France. Officially, an estimated 20,000 to 30,000 children are being raised by homosexual parents. France would be the 12th country in the world to legalise gay marriage. And here, it will also mean that partners can then adopt, a change Valerie and Annabelle want to see happen as soon as possible. This couple has been together for 15 years. They live in a village in the north of the country with their 3-year-old son, Thema.
The village accepts us completely. The director of the school was charming and we were welcomed with open arms, just like any other family. And that does one good.
Integrated on a local level, but Annabelle and Valerie say the right to marry would do a lot to end the feeling they have, all too often, of being considered second-class citizens.
This is a game of spot the difference. If you look at that dog, what's the difference between this dog and that one? How many paws does he have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
This couple underline the fact that Thema does have masculine influences in his life, uncles, grandfathers, cousins, and he's always known where he came from.
We never hid from him that he doesn't have a dad, and that he was here thanks to a nice man that gave us grains. And we went to Belgium to collect the grains, and Valérie, Malou, helped the doctor put these grains in my tummy. And that's how we got Thema, who arrived 9 months later.
It's principally for Thema that they want to get married. Currently, in the eyes of the law, Thema doesn't have 2 mothers. Rather, he has just one parent, his biological mother, Annabelle. As his social guardian, Annabelle's partner has no legal link and cannot adopt her son. Valerie doesn't have the right to make medical decisions or take him abroad.
It's a pity to have to say it's the social mother or the biological mother. In a normal family, you don't need to say that. It's all natural. I wish our case would become natural. It's important.
There are many ways to form a family. The only essential element is to have love. Once you do it with love, you can't go too far wrong.
If I could, I would marry you this minute.
Valerie and Annabelle hope to get married in September.
Soon.
For Patricia, it's months of legal battles that lie ahead. She agrees to talk to us on condition of anonymity. Like Valerie, she's a social mother and so has no legal link to Eloise and Paula, 2 girls she planned and helped raise for 5 years. But her relationship with the girl's biological mother fell apart and the girls left her life.
This little kitchen, they really loved playing with it. I'm not changing anything in their rooms because I tell myself I'll get them back.
For now, it's Patricia's ex who gets to make the rules. She allows Patricia to see their daughters for 1 hour a week.
Sometimes when I break down, I come into their rooms.
But Patricia is determined to get the law to take a serious look at her situation and grant her access to her daughters. Her lawyer is hopeful, but notes that even if gay marriage becomes legal here, it still won't help Patricia or those in a similar position.
The difficulties that so-called social parents who have separated have, the parents that are not the legal parents, well, their problems aren't going to end here. In fact, there won't be any change whatsoever. They clearly won't be able to marry their exes and so won't be able to adopt the kids.
In France, a new law cannot be applied retroactively, but the proposed bill would allow those still together to marry so that the social parent would have greater rights.
I'm the one that raised them. I educated them.
You who wanted them above all else.
Yes, I wanted them. And I don't want my girls one day to say that I didn't do anything for them and that I abandoned them.
So, what about the kids? As the law is debated in France, one of the main arguments for those against homoparental families is that children need to have a male and female parent. Having grown up with homosexual parents, Alexandre and Raphael wanted to counteract that argument. They've created an association called Children Like All Others.
We're not there to say that homoparental families are perfect. We're there to tell our story and to show, there you are, it's possible. We can grow up fine.
Raphael does admit, however, that while she was always proud of her two mothers, she was also aware of society's preconceptions.
Without thinking about it, I created a white lie when I spoke about my family. Not because I was ashamed, but because I knew it could make some people uncomfortable, that it was different, and when you're a kid, difference is sometimes seen as a bad thing. It's often judged.
Raphael's mothers separated when she was 15, but the two women stayed on good terms and her social mother was never cut out of her life.
In my family, we didn't have any legal battles or fights, but it would still have been easier if the law was there and that our family was recognised. It would have been nicer to grow up in a family that exists.
Recognised and moreover accepted, both Alexandre and Raphael support the law and hope the debate about families like theirs will soon be over.
It's true that what we hear now from politicians and the religious leaders, it damages the image of our parents each time. It casts a shadow on us too.
5-year-old Albie is getting a lesson in baking from Daddy Gail.
Fill it up halfway. There you go, a tiny spoonful.
Didier and Gail always wanted to adopt. For them, a biological link is not necessary to form a family. And as two men, adoption allowed them to have a child together.
It has to come from the heart. I always liked the idea of adoption. I wanted to tell him that he had a mother and a father, and that his mother and father could not take care of him, and that we were there in place of them. And we were there to take care of him and raise him in the place of his parents.
The men spent 6 years planning and preparing for the arrival of a child, consulting with child psychologists, other homo-parent families and reading books on the issue. Convinced that a child was no less well off in a homosexual household, they forged ahead. And on the 24th of December 2010, Albie arrived.
Do you remember what the weather was like when you first got here?
Christmas.
Was it hot or cold?
Super cold.
Snow on the ground and a welcome party greeted Albie. Gail and Didier live in a small village of some 900 inhabitants, a village in which they, and now their son, are well known and respected. Once Albie is tucked up in bed, the fathers can talk more openly about the problems you face to adopt when you're homosexual.
Right. Good night, mister. Sweet dreams.
In France, to adopt, you need to be either in a heterosexual couple or single. Gail applied as a single man.
I made the choice, and that was a personal thing, to hide and to create a completely fake story where I had a heterosexual lifestyle. It was a complete lie, but the idea was to make sure that I got to put my request in on an international level, because I knew that on an international level, no countries accepted homosexual couples.
If and when the law passes, Gail and Didier will get married only if it means that it will protect their family. That is, that Didier can adopt Albie. Until then, he's keeping a file of papers that show his presence in Albie's life.
When there is an important paper, I do put it aside. Both Gail and I agree that I should archive this kind of information, because I cannot prove my legal link to Albie, so accumulating these papers stands as a testament to the fact that I am his parent. If ever anything goes wrong, I can produce these papers.
This family has taken things a step further. 2 homosexual couples have joined forces, and with the help of artificial insemination in Spain, 3 children were given 4 parents. Nathalie is the biological mother. Carole, her partner, is the social mother and so technically has no rights. As for the boys, Louis and Fleury have found a way that they can both be legally recognised.
Fleury is the legal father, and Luis is the biological father, so he's also the dad. Not that it changes anything. But if there's ever an issue with Fleury, all Luis has to do is take a paternity test.
Not only has this family 2 sets of parents, but it also has 2 homes. The kids alternate living 1 week with their mums and then 1 with their dads.
Right, so the week with the mummies is over. And we're on our way to Daddy's house, which is just a 5 minutes walk away. But because there are bags of clothes, toys and so on to hand over to the daddies, Natalie is taking the car and meeting us there.
On the way, they run into Daddy Louis. Benjamin is clearly happy to see. Every week when the children are dropped off to their second home, time is taken to pass on any new developments the kids have met in the past week and changes to their schedules.
Ben has swimming on Wednesday evenings now.
Running 2 households can mean complicated logistics, but for these parents, the main thing they see is added love for their kids.
What I like is that it opens up other roads, other ideas to parenthood. The idea that we can have kids and raise them with love, and at the same time that love can be shared. For me, when we raise kids, it's not an isolated act in a glass house.
What's more, since they became parents, these dads feel that not only has it changed their lives for the better, but that society also sees them in a more positive light.
When people see you with kids, the first thing they notice isn't whether you're homosexual or heterosexual. They see you first as a parent. It's funny to see that most of those who oppose same-sex marriage or who are against homoparental families, they change their views quite quickly and radically when they see you with your kids, because they realize that we're just like everyone else.
A happy family that hopes, like the others in this report, that the law will pass and that couples like theirs will be fully recognised and given the same rights as everybody else.
Venez à la sieste, les enfants. On y va? On va à la sieste? Allez, un bisou à Kalou.